With the first pick in the 2016 WWE Superstar Draft, Smackdown selects from NXT, Shinsuke Nakamura. In this video, we are going to talk, and please feel free to watch the whole video and comment in the section below your thoughts on why WWE has the greatest opportunity of their life to make an NFL-esque draft and make it the best thing going in this company. But realistically, a brand split is a panic move, but we're going to talk about it. Just like we're going to talk about WrestleCrate. If you use code Tubby, you can save 10% at WrestleCrate.com. If you order a crate, tweet me and let me know what you're most excited to possibly get. Let me say this. A brand split is a panic move. If the writing was good in the first place, we wouldn't need a brand split. However, a brand split does allow more talent to get featured, which I'm all for. Also, Mauro Ranallo is commentating live, which is probably the greatest thing to come out of this announcement. But here's the thing. WWE fans are trained to bitch and complain, and then when something new comes along, they don't think about, okay, well, if it's already bad, how is this going to make it any better? We already complain that they can't write shows like Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis. Now they're just splitting them up, and we're supposed to immediately assume the writing is going to be excellent and it's going to fix the whole company. It's not. But here are some of the things WWE could do to make it absolutely amazing. If you are going to do a brand split, you need to take it seriously. I'm going to be honest here. I don't like the random superstar draft. I don't like it when it's randomized and it shows up on the screen. I pitched this on Twitter because I think this scenario could happen. On Monday Night Raw, they do the draft. The first pick is Roman Reigns to SmackDown. And then they redo the thing with Cena years ago, and the crowd just goes fucking nuts. They're happy all night. And the biggest boo in the world is the very last one, where Roman Reigns is back on Raw, and everybody's like, are you? Oh, what the? Think about that. WWE could pull that with Roman Reigns and get the biggest pop at the start of the night and the worst boos ever by the end of the night. But here's the thing. This is what I want. The WWE has the WWE Network now. The draft should be a network special because I know they're not going to take 3 hours away and not have a Raw. The draft has to be built as the biggest and best thing for this company of all time, or at least for right now. They need to make it a big deal. They need to have analysts. They need to have commentary teams going at it. They need to make this feel like it'll be the greatest thing ever, even if we know the writing may lack. What I want from the draft is to have a draft system set up, like I said at the start of the video. I want it like the NFL draft, the MLB draft, any kind of draft where you go up there on stage, you make your picks. It's actual picks going down the line. You have the commentary team, like the pre-show panel, like Renee Young and everybody that normally does those panels talking about it. Boy, that's a good pick for SmackDown. Look, SmackDown gets a competitor like this. Raw loses this man. They need to make this bigger than the company itself. They need to make this feel like there is a reason for a brand split. Because simply just splitting the rosters out doesn't fix the solutions. It doesn't fix the crappy wrestling, the crappy wrestling writing. It doesn't fix a lot of these short-term problems that WWE has. Something it could instantly fix is if WWE believes enough in Roman Reigns, give him SmackDown. Get Raw ratings back up, let Roman Reigns still be the guy over on SmackDown, and they could do something that way. I pitched on Twitter that you could have Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. They just beat the absolute hell out of each other, and it leads to a double pin where they're both just, the club comes in, lays out fucking both of them, and they put their arms on each other, so they're double champions. There's controversy, and then they just split up the titles and give each show a title. Now, well, I should be talking about what they should do with the titles. Should they have a World Heavyweight Champion? Should they have a split title? Should the US be on one show? Should the IC be on another? I don't know that. But what I know is when you are doing this brand split, just saying, hey, you're on this show now, you're on this show, let's go, isn't big enough. WWE has the network, a platform they've never had before, and they could literally have specials, they could have build-up, they could have ESPN coverage. They could make this absolutely legit. in a world where, people love to see live, entertaining action, and this is what WWE says in the press release, and this is 100% true. There's a reason major companies are paying the live viewing audience rates. There's a reason NBC, ABC, CBS, ESPN, TBS are paying all these sports companies millions to billions of dollars for the broadcasting rights to live programming, because live programming is huge in advertisers' eyes versus tape shows. The draft needs to signal the change in the WWE. If we are in a new era, I don't want, let's have a match to see if he'll be on this show. This is a brand new brand split that maybe a lot of newer fans have never seen before. Maybe a lot of these newer fans have never known WWE has done a draft. You go out of your way to impress them and make this feel like the biggest thing in company history that will help the company. You can have two distinct shows. You could have maybe SmackDown features more on the wrestling and great commentary and great action like in NXT, more storyline-based stuff. What I don't want is split pay-per-views. I know they could do it with network specials, and I would be okay with it if they were just billed as that. But I worry about stuff like that because that's where this whole panic comes in of, okay, the show's like this. Now, I said that because when people are looking at this, and JD from New York is one of those guys that does see this as a panic move, kind of like I do. Now, I think it is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is bad by calling it a panic move. What I'm saying is WWE is doing something now to try to right the ship, kind of like they made, with Cena getting hurt and losing the Mania match, and they kind of threw Shane in. It was kind of a way to, like Vince said, to make chicken salad out of, nothing. And to be truthful, that's fine. We can have all of this, but when you have two shows now, and SmackDown is already pretty good. Morrow brings the action to life if you haven't seen it. They're still bringing in 2.1 to 2.3 million. They have a good show going. The problem is a lot of the crossover is usually meaningless, right? Like on Raw, we had Cesaro beat The Miz, and then he gets the title shot on SmackDown, but he loses. It doesn't mean anything, and then he's just going to come back to Raw and probably say something to Miz. Versus where it was a separate show, you have to tune into SmackDown. You can't rely on also seeing Raw. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't see crossover. I think it would be good and beneficial for there to be crossover where people occasionally appear on big other shows. So when they appear on another show, it is a big deal. I want this draft to feature NXT talent, where if your opening pick is with the first pick in the 2016 WWE Draft, SmackDown selects Shinsuke Nakamura from NXT. In the 2016 WWE Draft with a second pick from Evolve Wrestling, WWE selects. You see what I'm talking about? If you're already testing these guys out in the Cruiserweight Classic, you already know you're going to sign them. You already know you're going to do something. Why not give the other wrestling shows promotion? This is something that I think nobody's going to talk about, and I want to be very clear with this. This idea is huge. The reason you make this as big of a deal as possible with the draft, to have this like an NFL draft, is because WWE, with the relationships they've created with Revolution Pro, Evolve, This is Progress, is you can do these types of things. A draft that scouts the talent from these promotions legitimizes those promotions. It legitimizes Gabe Sapolsky, and it legitimizes what he's doing as kind of a feeder system outside of NXT. If you're going to sign a guy, have him be from one of these organizations, he gets signed, boom. Think about that. Think how big this is for the WWE. If you know you're already going to sign them, and, WWE, ROH has been open to working with WWE. The COO has said it, or, possibly buying TNA or anything. If you were to have something like that where you could, they're leaving ROH. Now, WWE probably would never acknowledge ROH. I mean, and they still do. They would acknowledge Ring of Honor or New Japan, not TNA, though. To have, with a fourth pick from Ring of Honor, WWE SmackDown selects. Like, think about that. Now, obviously, a bigger show like that, it's not going to happen. More from the indie promotions. But this could be absolutely amazing because once you pick them, they can still go to developmental. They don't have to be on the show right away. You would see these, like the NFL, like NBA, like any other sport, as talents that are going to need work, but they're going to be the future of those shows. So you have a reason to invest in SmackDown. You have a reason to invest in Raw. WWE, please make this the biggest deal you have this year. You split the brands, you split the writing teams, you make it important, you make it must-see television. A WWE draft that encompasses all of this is must-see television. The questions everybody's asking right now is who's going where? WWE, capitalize on that. Be the best you possibly can, and I look forward to probably getting disappointed and having a random draft on Raw.